What's going on, everybody? My name is Monatui, coach of the Tampa Bay Luxrays, and today I'm bringing you guys our GBA Season 6 Week 5 match versus George, coach of the San Francisco Arcaniners, aka Steptile MC. Please check out his channel in the description below. He is an absolutely phenomenal battler, someone I've looked up to since the very first D-League season, but I gave enough sappy stuff in my team builder, so let's just get right into team preview here. As you can see, George has his Infernape, Snorlax, Nidoqueen, Latias, Gardevoir, and Fortress, so no Melodic, which kind of sucks because that makes an offensive Azumarill much more useful in this match. Like, I can just click Waterfall or Play Rough and 2KO almost everything on his team. But I'm going to try and find a way to make Perish Trap successful in this match. So definitely about the team I expected, except no Melodic. And no Melodic, I really thought Melodic was coming. Like, I felt like it was necessary for my team, but he didn't bring it, and you're probably going to see why he didn't bring it in a bit. I do have a full team builder dedicated to my team. However, on our side, we have our physically defensive Shukaberry Lantern, we have our Perish Trapping mixed defensive Azumarill, we have our Spadef Bronzong, we have our Subsalic Garchomp, the big win condition of this game, we have our Life Orb Emboar, and we have our mixed defensive Mandibuzz. So, looking at his team, I determined that my best lead is going to be the Lantern. It can kind of Volt Switch out versus anything, bar, of course, the, it's called a Gardevoir with Trace. But as you can see, he's going to lead with his Fortress, as I lead with my Lantern, and this is fine with me, because I can just fire off a Scald, hopefully get a burn on something, something being this Fortress, but as you see here, no such luck. He is going to get up his Stealth Rock, which is totally fine. I do have a Defogger and Mandibuzz. I can freely defog versus this Fortress here, and again, I'm just going to fire off another Scald. I can potentially snag a burn on something. If I snag a burn on this Gardevoir, that would be absolutely wonderful. As you're going to see here, he's going to Trace Volt Absorb, so I can't Volt Switch out, which is a little unfortunate, but I am going to click Scald again, and that does absolutely pitiful damage and no burn once again. So here, I make the only switch I have into this thing, into my Bronzong, and George is going to make a very good play, and go right for the trick. He knew that my Bronzong was the only switch into this thing, and he has now crippled it permanently for the rest of the game, already on like turn 3 or 4, or whatever this is. And this is shitty, because I want to get at my Stealth Rock, but Stealth Rock just gave him a free switch out into his Nidoqueen, into his Infernape, things like that. So I believe here I go right out. I pull a double here, yes. I predict either, I believe I did predict this Infernape. I could have gone for an EQ, but I didn't want him sending out something else or staying in and me doing pathetic damage. So I send out my Azumarill, scaring him out immediately. I knew this switch was happening, so I made this play here. Like I said, could have gone for an Earthquake, but decided that this was a little bit more worthwhile. Here he is going to switch out, and he is going to go out into his Fortress. Kind of surprising switch, honestly, because had I gone for a Waterfall, this thing would have been 2KO'd, but it definitely makes sense. He doesn't have great switch-ins to a Azumarill, or an offensive Azumarill, but here I'm going to go for the Whirlpool, trapping him in, and I think this is great, because he could have Volt Switch, but I could switch out into my Garchomp or my Lantern regardless. He can set up spikes if he wants to, but either way, this thing is trapped. He cannot pull a double on me, which is also very important here. So I'm going to go out in my Lantern in case he tries to Volt Switch out, as he reveals the Pain Split. So I'm thinking, okay, he's got Pain Split for his own recovery. I don't think he's going to have Explosion, because Explosion plus Pain Splits is kind of weird. You get yourself back healthier, but you're going to explode and get rid of all of it anyway, so that's what I'm thinking right now. Here, going to fire off a Scald. Once again, no burn, and this Latias is going to reveal Leftovers. That is a very... I'm not sure how much HP that thing had, but that's not a lot of damage. Lantern, you are so weak. But anyway, here, I believe I click Ice Beam here. No, I switch out. That's right, I switch out because Ice Beam does absolutely nothing to Latias. And I'm going to go out into my Bronzong, which is okay, but not the matchup I want at the moment. But I have a feeling he's going to set up his T-Spikes, either that or he's going to go for like an Ice Beam or something, predicting my Mandibuzz to want to come in. Anyway, I'm Scarfed, I'm crippled, I might as well get some damage on this anyway, can take a Flamethrower if he has it. So I'm going to go for the Earthquake, get some good damage on this Nidoqueen, and now I'm going to switch out into my Mandibuzz. And as you guys are going to see here, I'm going to take Rocks damage, and then he is going to fire off a Fire Blast, which made me a little bit nervous because if this was Life Orb, I would have died to this plus Ice Beam, but that does absolutely nothing. Mandibuzz just tanks that easily, And here I know he's going to go for an Ice Beam, either that or pull a switch, so I want to keep this thing healthy. He's going to go for the Ice Beam, but because of my special defense investment, I will be able to take it. He is not Life Orb, which is very good to know. I'm thinking possibly Pasho Berry, possibly, well, not Shuka Berry because I already hit it with an Earthquake, but possibly Pasho Berry, something along the lines of that. So I'm going to go for the Roost, and this is the turn where I decide to go for Defog. I know he's going to switch out. He knows this is a losing battle, me clicking Roost over and over again until I'm at full health. So he is going to pull the switch out into his Gardevoir. And this is going to become a problem for this match. Him having my Bronzong's leftovers is really annoying, because no matter what damage I'm able to get on it, it's just going to be obnoxious for the rest of the game. So as you're going to see, he's going to get leftovers recovery. I'm pretty much forced to switch out here. I can't stay in and do anything to this because he kills me, or he has a good chance to kill me, and I need my Mandibuzz for the majority of his team. So I'm going to switch out into my Lantern, actually. Didn't want him... Yeah, that's why. I didn't want him to go for Shadow Ball on my incoming Bronzong, which is exactly what he tried to do. He's going to go for his Shadow Ball, his best play overall. There's no way I was going to stay in. Even if I did stay in, Foul Play would do absolutely nothing. I don't have U-Turn, unfortunately, or else I may have made a very aggressive play there, but didn't want to risk it anyway, probably. So just going to stack off my Lantern there. It's not going to do much for the rest of the game. Lantern is just not good. It just hasn't been doing too much work for me, even though it's been in one game. It's done nothing. But anyway, I'm going to send in Emboar, and I'm going to bluff the shit out of a Choice Scarf, because I'm like, you know what, fuck it. Going into Bronzong kills my momentum, because I'm Choice Locked. Even if I go for Gyro Ball, he has a free switch and a Fortress, can set up his hazards and whatnot, so I'm going to go right for a Flare Blitz. But no, I'm Life Orb. Probably big surprise with him. I knew he would switch. There was no way he was risking his Gardevoir there. Anyway, his Latias takes a ton of damage from that Flare Blitz, but unfortunately, because he outspeeds me, he can just go for Roost here. And I will be killing myself with Flare Blitz, and at any point he can decide to attack me. So I'm going to go out into my Bronzong here as he goes for the Recover. And now I believe I take this as an opportunity to set up my Stealth Rock. I realize he could gain momentum from it, but I also realize that I want my Rocks up because I need chip damage on this, I need chip damage on the Gardevoir, I need things to come in and take a little bit of damage. So as you're going to see, he's going to go out into his Fortress as I set up the Stealth Rock. Now I am locked into Stealth Rock, he knows this, I know this, but I can go out into my Garchomp, which punishes his Volt Switch because it kills his momentum, or it punishes his Spin because he'll be taking Rough Skin. However, he's going to make a very good play and go out into his Snorlax, which is very unfortunate. I believe I do go out in my Garchomp here. Yes, I go out in my Garchomp. And this is kind of bad because I know he's going to have the Ice Punch. That hits my Garchomp super effectively. It hits my Mandibuzz. Granted, Return does more. But he's going to want to be able to hit this Garchomp. If I'm a Tank Chomp, I believe Body Slam doesn't even break my sub. And he wants to kill this thing as soon as possible with anything that he has. So I'm going to go out into my Azumarill. Going to eat this Ice Punch like it's absolutely nothing. Because I resist that, I'm defensive, and I'm thick fat. Because, like I said in my Team Blue, you can't be Sap Sipper plus Perish Trap set, unfortunately. But I gain more from leftovers than that Ice Punch does to me, which is hilarious. But here I take this as an opportunity to... I believe I either Whirlpool here or I pull a double. But I'm pretty sure I just Whirlpool here. Also, you may be wondering why I'm going to go for the Whirlpool. You may have wondered earlier why I didn't stay in and Perish Trap this Fortress. That's because, A, like I said, he has Volt Switch. He can get himself out whenever he wants to, and that's going to be a tough prediction to get. He can click it now, and he would be fine. Here I go for the Parashon, that's right. Because I want him to Volt Switch. I really want him to Volt Switch so that I can get out into my Garchomp. I want that to happen because I feel like the sooner I set up with Garchomp, the better. Well, not the sooner I set up with Garchomp, the better, but I really want to set up with Garchomp. Yeah, I'm not thinking this thing has Explosion, so it cannot break my sub with Gyro Ball. I can just continuously go for subs. He might be forced out at some point. So here, I think he's going to Volt Switch, so I go out into my Garchomp now. And this is the part where I'm thinking, okay, I have the possibility to set up. He goes for Rocks. That's fine. He's going to switch out fearing the Fire move, whether it be Fire Fang or Fire Blast, something like that. So here, he is going to switch out. And I should have clicked Earthquake here. I shouldn't have started to set up... Well, nah, this doesn't really matter too much here. The update required. Get out of here. Sorry about that. But anyway, I go for the subs, he switches out into Snorlax, and I'm hoping that this is a 2 KO. If he doesn't have a lot of defense investment, this Earthquake will be a 2 KO. I am adamant, I am max attack, so we're going to go for the Earthquake, and unfortunately is not going to be a 2 KO with the leftovers. And he's going to reveal the Ice Punch. If like the rough skin went like activated with the sub, that would be wonderful in this situation, but it does not, unfortunately. It has to actually contact me. So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, but here I am going to switch out. I predict another Ice Punch, and I need to get some sort of offensive momentum here, so I'm going to go out into my Emboar, and as you're going to see here, he is going to go for the Body Slam, which is totally fine, because even if he, well, he parries me, and that sucks, but I live the Body Slam, which means I can get off one more attack. He's probably just going to stay in and knock out my Emboar, but this is a good opportunity. I can go for the Sucker Punch, get enough damage on this thing to put it in range of the Earthquake, which is exactly what I do, which is great. So, as you're going to see here, Emboar is going to go down, but now I can go out into my Garchomp and click Earthquake and essentially get a kill. He's not going to switch out because if I set up a sub, that's really bad for him. So I'm going to go into my Garchomp directly, and I'm just going to click Earthquake. It guaranteed knock this thing out. That was a sentence. It's guaranteed to knock this thing out, and like I said, I didn't think he would be switching in anything on this. So we are able to knock out the Garchomp, and that is wonderful. So now he is going to send out his Latias, and I do not want to take a Dragon Pulse or a Draco Meteor or an Ice Beam or anything like that, so I'm pretty much forced to switch out here. I do still have my Bronzong alive and relatively healthy, even though it is crippled with the Choice Scarf, so I am going to send that out as he goes right for the Ice Beam. And as you can see, this Ice Beam does absolutely nothing, which is nice. Definitely nice, because my Bronzong is still relatively healthy. Like I said, even though it's crippled with the Scarf, I still have a little bit of usage out of it pivoting around his team. So here, I'm going to pull a double, and I'm going to go out into my Azumarill, because if he attacks me with a Shadow Ball, then I can take it. Regardless of what he does, I can take it. And here I'm kind of afraid of him having Thunderbolt, but there's a good chance of me living the Thunderbolt anyway, and I can possibly Whirlpool this thing, Parashong, Rest, do whatever. And also I made that Azumarill play in case he switched out into his Infernape, which he obviously did not there, but here I am going to force him to switch out. He probably doesn't have a move to hit me. He's going to go back out into his Fortress again, and I'm going to go for the Whirlpool. And obviously, I'm going to trap him. But this is not looking great for me in this spot. I have to find the right opportunity to set up with my Garchomp in order to win. And with this Fortress getting weakened, the 2 checks to my Garchomp are almost gone here. Like my Snorlax, his Snorlax is dead, and this thing is getting very weakened. So here, predicting either a Volt Switch or even no. I make this play because if he goes for Pain Split, I am within the berry, the Salac. That's it. I'm in Salac berry range. He does go for the Pain Split. I'm like, okay. Knowing George, after a sub. Knowing George, he hasn't really run Gyro Ball on this thing too often, so I might be okay with this. He might be Spin, Rocks, Pain Split, and Volt. No, fuck. So, he's... Damn it. He's Explosion. And this is actually still okay, because the only thing that can knock out this Garchomp at this point is a Banded Infernape. So as long as he is not a Banded Infernape, because we know he's not Life Orb, he has to be banded in order to knock me out with Mach Punch. So he's going to go out into his Infernape. As long as he's not banded, I would live and I knock out the rest of his team. Nope, he's banded. He's banded. That wasn't good. Garchomp dies, and there goes the win condition. So this is now going to be a really, really uphill battle. I don't have a lot of opportunities to win here. My offense is crippled. Like, my Emboar's dead, my Garchomp's dead, my offense is essentially gone. I can't even use this Mandibuzz as a pivot because I don't have U-turn, so I essentially just have to make good doubles every time, and even that's going to be tough because he has Rocks up. But here, I'm going to go for the Roost, just getting this thing back healthy, and like I said, the leftovers that he took from my Bronzong are annoying because... Sorry, just ripping a little bit. The leftovers are annoying because now he's getting health back even though I have Rocks up, and it's just depressing to me. But anyway, I have to go out into Bronzong here. Not much of a choice. He does go for the Moonblast here. He has no reason to overpredict at this point. I'm going to be able to take that, and I can possibly take a Shadow Ball after this, so he's not going to want to stay in, which is nice. However, I believe on this turn I go for a Toxic because I want to status this thing. My only possible chance of winning is that I can somehow stall out the rest of his team, because I'm certainly not breaking through it offensively with the pathetic mons that I have now. Not pathetic, but like my non-offensive mons that I have now in Bronzong, Mandibuzz, etc. The Perish Trapping Azumarill. So I'm going to go for the Toxic. It's going to hit the Latias, and right here, I'm going to switch out. I'm still in the mindset that he has absolutely no reason to overpredict. So I'm going to go out into my Mandibuzz on a predicted Shadow Ball. Is he? No, he's just going to be better than me and go out into his Gardevoir as I switch out into my Mandibuzz. So George just out-prepping me, out-playing me, just really not going well at this point. I go out into my Mandibuzz, but again, there's not much I can do at this point. I believe I do opt to stay in at this point and just click Foul Play, because there's no reason to switch back out. I die to Moonblast with Shadow Ball anyway. Or do I stack Azumarill here? I'm not entirely sure what I do here. The end game is kind of... No, I do switch. Alright, so I'm going to switch out, and no, I do go back into Bronzong. Duh. I think at this point I'm just stacking it, because without Leftovers recovery and with this thing constantly pressuring me, it's going to die at some point. So I'm going to take the Moonblast, and then I get the special attack drop. Why not? Doesn't really matter, but he's going to get it. And at this point, I kind of just have to status things, like status everything, and then somehow outlast everything. But he's going to send out his Infernape. I believe, do I pull a double here? No, I do go right for a Gyro Ball. That's unfortunate. If I click DQ, this thing would probably be dead. But unfortunately, I do not, and I have no switch into this whatsoever, so he's going to go for a close combat, and I'm going to die. And Bronzong's gone, so my kind of response to Nidoqueen's dead, not that it was a great response, and I do still have Mandibuzz, so I don't know why I said that was a response to Nidoqueen. But anyway, I'm going to send out my Azumarill here. Because I am bulky, I will be able to live a banded close combat, which, as you're going to see, is what he goes for. And I probably should have just Whirlpooled on this thing and attempted to kill it. At -2 Speed F, this Whirlpool might have killed from where it's at, but instead I opt to go for the rest, because instead of playing for possible differential, I decided, you know, let's see if there's a possible chance George chokes and I win, but George is way too good for that, and I probably should have just gone for the Whirlpool, but regardless, I do rest up. No point in pulling a double. I know he's going to switch. He has absolutely no reason not to, but there's really not much of a point in pulling a double here. So I'm going to stay asleep. And then I'm going to switch, because why not? Like, genuinely, my options are extremely limited if they're there at all, and they're really not there at all. But Mandibuzz is going to come in, going to take a Sludge Wave, and then is going to die to an Ice Beam on the following turn. As you can see, Sludge Wave does a good amount of damage, and I, of course, died to Ice Beam earlier. I died to an Ice Beam now, because we saw the damage it did earlier. So he's going to fire off an Ice Beam, and dead. So now all I have left is a sleeping Perish Trap Azumarill with Whirlpool as its only attacking move, so I'm sure you guys can see what happens throughout the rest of this match. But, you know, if he somehow misclicks Ice Beam and then gets grudged, then I could win, but he's not going to get grudged, and he's not going to kill me with the first Sludge Wave. That's cool. If I were offensive with Aqua Jet, I'd wake up and, you know, attack right now, but I'm pretty sure he was Pasture Berry anyway, so it didn't matter. But he's going to go for the next Sludge Wave, and that is going to knock out my Azumarill, and that is going to be the end of the game. We lose a 4-0 game. That was English, yeah. We lose 4-0 against George of the San Francisco Arcaniners. That was a wonderful game. There's probably going to be something popping up on the screen because I accidentally clicked on a T. Nope, okay, we're good. So that was a great game. This game took about 45 minutes to play, and even though it ended in a 4-0, it didn't feel like I got completely destroyed. Towards the end, yeah, it felt like I got destroyed. But up until the point where Garchomp was exploded on and then Mach Punched by Banded Infernape, I felt pretty good. And it's weird to say this from a 4-0 loss, but it felt like for a good point of time there I had the game. Like if he did not have Choice Banded Infernape, then I won that game, because I lived the Mach Punch regardless, and then I knocked out the Infernape. A Dragon Claw knocked out the Latias. Earthquake would have knocked out the Gardevoir from where it was at. I would have knocked out the Nidoqueen from where it was at. So I didn't set up with my Garchomp properly. Fortress was just too big of an issue. Maybe I should have had fire coverage on the Garchomp to just take care of Fortress earlier, but I'm not entirely sure. My best chance to win that was probably wait until Infernape was locked into close combat and then set up a sub. force a switch out and then set up a sub, but that's not how it played out. So I don't think I played this too poorly, aside from maybe the way I played my Garchomp, but even then, like, after seeing Pain Split, I just really didn't think he would have Explosion. Like, you're giving yourself health back to then explode and lose it all, but George, it absolutely worked, and George's mindset was definitely justified, because I definitely see how that came into play in this match, and I'm sure he thought of that scenario anyway. My Emboar wasn't able to do what I could do, because even though I got massive damage off on the Latias, he had recovery and could dodge my sucker punches, and then it ended up dying to Snorlax anyway, and that was unfortunate. Mandibuzz did good, but it couldn't do everything by itself. Like, the Gardevoir pressured it. Really, it was only the Gardevoir that was stopping it. Like, Mandibuzz actually kind of just, like, walled the rest of his team, bar, like, banded Close Combat from Infernape, because I believe that 2 KOs my spread. So Mandibuzz did okay. Lantern is a piece of garbage, and I don't even want to talk about it. I wish it brought Melodic over something. Like, Perish Trap of Zimro would have been a lot less useless this match. Maybe I should have Perish Trapped, like, the Fortress earlier, but it would have been tough since he had Volt Switch and Explosion. Like, if I'm taking him down, he's taking something of mine with him, so that was unfortunate. And yeah, Bronzong was tricked early on. That sucked too. Like, I was down from the very beginning. I needed that thing to be able to free up. Like, I needed that thing to not be choice, so I can click Earthquake, Gyro Ball, or Toxic in the correct situation. But that's just... George played really well. He prepped incredibly, and he played extremely, extremely well. So we take our first loss in the GBA so far. Well, technically our first loss. Gubs lost at week 1, but the Luxrays' first loss is a good way to put it. So thank you guys very much for watching. I am going to try as hard as I can to bounce back next week. Next week we are going up against Nick, aka Super Blah, of the Boston Red Sox. So I hope you're looking forward to a good match there, because I am definitely not taking this loss too hard on myself. I lost to a very good player, and we just have to learn from it and move on for our next match. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.